Welcome to episode 11 of Platform. Today we're going to be speaking to Josh Glowicki. Most people will know Josh as being involved in the Cayenne Project and the blading camps, which have been really successful and have been hosted all over Europe. But before that, he made a name for himself in videos for Aunt Medina and Brian Moore and various other kind of local Texas projects. And then in 2011, he came to Europe with his good friend Fritz Peitzner, and they did the Fritz and Glow Invade Europe tour. And they basically just hit up all the major contests across Europe for about a year and filmed, I think it was maybe 5 or 6 edits, and they were just amazing. He got sponsored by Head and Skate, got turned amateur for razors, and then just kept releasing section after section, building a name for himself, making friends all over the place. He went to South America, and since that time he's kind of stepped back from pursuing a pro skating career and is just focused on the blading camps. I'm not entirely sure what his status is with razors anymore, if he's still involved in the brand or if he's still or what's going on. So just wanted to check in with him because blading camp's coming up again in 2021, see what he's been up to, see what his plans for the future are, and just find out more about his life recently. Before we do that, cue the music. How you doing?
I'm doing good, David, man. It's been a long time. How are you?
You're looking well.
Thanks. Same for you, man.
Still get your yoga teacher look going strong?
Yeah, not much changed, huh? Except just gone a little more deeper into the rabbit hole. But everything's still the same.
All right. I saw you at a glance at Winter Clash, but you were walking off in the distance, and I wasn't running through that crowd to catch up with you.
Yeah. So what an event that was, eh?
Did you actually skate at Winter Clash?
No.
Just showed up to hang out.
I showed up to run the camp, because Winter Clash Yo-Yo has offered us such a magnificent place, and opportunity. So no, it's too dangerous for me, I'm not at that point right now to fight through 35 people just to try to make a soul grind, so.
Well, and one of the last times I did see you compete, you almost murdered Alex Burston. So there was that's to date, that's 2 of the worst falls I've seen in competitions have both involved Alex. And that one was like the closest call because he wasn't wearing a helmet and you almost landed square on his face.
And I was eight wheels rockered down 72 mil. And I literally, David, I pulled out Alex's hair from my bearings.
That slam haunts me, and he still shares it. He still shares that video, and every time I see it, it just takes me back to that. And that was a really scary experience. Yeah,
that was unbelievable. I know. I almost killed one of my closest friends. Gosh. And what else? Wait, you said Alex had 2. What else? What's the other Alex?
He had another one. There was this competition in Sheffield. I think it's called the House Skate Park. And he was coming off a trick fakie. He'd literally just come off the obstacle fakie at like full speed. And one of my friends from Scotland was just coming off, I think it was like a gap or something, full speed. And they both landed like as fast as they could possibly have been going and crashed into each other's backs. And they hit each other so hard that neither of them could get up. Like they couldn't walk away from it. They both just crawled into different parts of the park and lay down. And it was heinous. It was so horrible. Yeah. So Alex,
that's it, dude. That was why. That's why I don't choose to skate Winter Clash anymore.
It is intense.
I got the whole day during the camp. We got the whole skate park to ourselves. I skate then.
Yeah. Well, if you're not getting hit by another skater, you're getting taken out by beer spills on the ground, spectators getting in the way. It's just, it is rife with just, yeah, there's obstacles everywhere.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful thing, but you got to be well armed and prepared for that battle.
Yeah, it's definitely unlike any other competition experience. It must make it so much harder than a regular competition to skate.
Right. And I remember when I was hungry and into this whole competition thing, I remember we only had like 10 or 15 minutes to warm up, and it was just like, I mean, normal, there's 300 people competing. So when are you going to have any time to warm up or do any tricks? It's just it's a high level of everything,
I can only imagine. The last time I saw you was in Glasgow, and we were at a bar till God knows what time in the morning, and you were on a sober kick. So is that still going on, or have you relaxed on those rules, or what's happening?
So when you and I met, I was very hardcore. I was very radical. I was super vegan with this crazy beard, with not eating, drinking anything, smoking anything. That lasted about 2 years. I did about 2 years really, really hardcore. And then I finally kind of relaxed back into life a little bit because I was a little too extreme, Life in either extreme, I kind of understood is not good. Extreme in one side or extreme in the other side, So I was extremely healthy, but I wasn't healthy at all. You know what I mean? I wasn't eating properly. I wasn't enjoying much of life. I was saying no to everything because I had certain, beliefs that I thought were the way to do it. And so no, now these days I still am regularly hardcore about my beliefs and how and my diet and everything, but I've relaxed a little bit. I'll have a glass of wine every now and then with my wife or to celebrate, but all in all, I don't drink. I don't really nothing doesn't call my attention anymore, So
I was about to say, you're living in the south of Spain now. You need to take advantage of the local produce. I did not know you were married. When did that happen?
Yeah. Well, it's all still a process, It happened. It hasn't technically happened, but it happened on paper. So we're in the process of actually doing it properly. Because of she's from Spain, I'm from Texas, and we both have dramas trying to go into each other's countries. So we just took care of it, legally. And I am a person I believe really deeply that my words create my reality. So I'm very specific how I label things and how I say things. So technically we're not really married yet, but this is my wife, so she is she's
so
like
are there
my
plans
wife
for a ceremony or something?
It's happening. Okay. It's gonna happen. We're taking it slow just because we need to get we want to get both of our companies kind of secure and get life going, because we want to move into the next step of life.
I hear you. So whereabouts in southern Spain are you living at the moment?
So we're currently about 30 minutes north of Malaga, and we are about 1,500, almost 1,700 meters above the sea level. So we're in the mountains.
Nice.
It's cold as hell. We got snow it's supposed to snow tonight, they say. But Juani's down in Malaga. Literally, he's 30 minutes away, and they have 20 degrees, and they got sun, and they got the beach. So
nice.
You just go straight up.
Not that far to escape. Up. Yeah.
No. And what's really cool is, 15 minutes from my house, we have this old Arabic bathhouse. So there's thermal waters right there. Right. And then another 40 minutes from us, we have the mountains to ski. And then the 40 minutes in the opposite direction, I have the beach and Juani and street skating and everything I need in Malaga. So
everything you could need. Nice.
Basically, we're perfect, because part of this, when I met you, last time I saw you, when I was obviously in a time of transition, it was all pretty much leading to this point to really connect more with nature, to really get back on the land, to start to grow our own food, to basically to take advantage of as much of the nature as possible, And so we, basically we grow, right now we're growing a good 70% of our food we grow from the garden, and the only thing right now I have to buy still are grains. You know, I haven't grown a grain yet, but everything else comes straight from the garden. We make our own olive oil. We just made like 65 liters of olive oil, of 100% virgin, unfiltered, cold pressed olive oil.
Right.
So we collect all of our water from a spring that's just down the street. You know, I take all the firewood from the local forest. Like, it's just really about us connecting with nature as much as possible, you know.
This is quite a turnaround from, like, yeah, coming from your Americanized, you know,
Yeah,
cultural revolution background to now. It sounds like you're just trying to become as self-sufficient as possible.
exactly. That's the goal. It's the end goal. And
Well,
we're
that's pretty
close,
cool.
huh? We're pretty close. Next year we're talking about getting a couple solar panels. And I think the only issue we're going to have is how to run the washing machine. That's the only major consuming electrical device we have. But let's see how far this goes. You know, maybe we find a washing machine by hand, or who knows? You know, I'm not really
You don't
scared
want to
of.
start going back to that, going back to the, what is it? They have like the washboard when you go down to the river.
Yeah,
You don't want
yeah.
that's time
I
consuming.
don't think so. I don't think so. But I'm not really scared. I'm not scared of going back in time. You know, I don't think our ancestors had it so bad as they tell the story. You know.
I mean, it's not that, it just doesn't leave time for much all else when you're consuming, you know, hours a week doing menial tasks, basically.
I mean, it's true, but think about how much time you spend going to the grocery store, or then, you know what I mean? Like, there's mediocre tasks that we do daily that we don't even think about it, but we're wasting so much time, you know? So if these tasks can be converted into a way of enjoying, you know, like if we can enjoy these small tasks, then everything kind of works out better that way, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. I'll give you that. Yeah.
So anyways, but yeah, lots of nature right now. It's great.
So when are you going to start investing in farmyard animals and chick? Wait, are you still vegan?
Not hardcore, but you know, I play. I'm not. I
So
actually have.
no fish or anything.
I do. I do. This is the thing. Like, everything's changing with me. Like, I was very vegan when we met, and I was under the belief that it was like for me, it was the right belief at the moment. But now in life's changed, and I honestly see things differently. You know what I mean? I see now chickens and this sort of thing not as so cruel and crucial and bad as I used to. You know, I see it now as like almost like a fruit. You know what I mean? An animal giving a fruit and things like this. It's a long process of me to kind of digest everything, and I'm constantly changing and evolving. I'm not stuck in any belief system. So right now, no, not vegan,
I was
working
about to
on
say,
getting.
if you had your own chickens in your garden, you looked after them, you'd know they're being looked after well, and then
Exactly.
they wouldn't be forced to produce anything. It would be, yeah. So
Exactly. And springtime, we're planning on having 3 or 4 little chickens. I'm building the chicken coop right now, and
nice.
yeah, it's happening, man.
That's pretty cool. All right, okay.
Yeah. You'll have to come. You'll have to come visit when you get a chance, man. Check it out.
Wani keeps telling me to come over, and I'm just like, man, I'm not getting a week away from father life. That's just not happening. So
Yeah, you're busy these days, aren't you?
yeah, and now I'm working from home, so it just intensifies everything, because it's like it used to be you'd leave work, have some free time, then pick up your
Right.
kid, and now it's
Right.
you leave your spare bedroom and your kid's right there, like so there's no separation, there's no free time.
Jeez, I understand.
So this year's been quite intense for everyone, but it seems like you guys have kind of managed to get away with a certain degree of normality, because, well, there's 3 things I want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about the Cayenne Project, very little about razors, because I don't know if you've watched any other podcasts, but a lot of times I knew you wouldn't have watched them. Basically, Stefan Brando and John Fromm had a lot to say about razors. So,
and they got a good opinion. I'm going to go back and watch both of these. I just haven't had time, but it's a hot topic for everybody right now.
Yeah. So we're going to lightly touch on that. But yeah, I want to talk about Cayenne Project, razors, and blading camp. So let's talk about blading camp first.
Okay.
Because it kind of seems like COVID obviously impacted it, but not as much as we would expect, because the camp still went ahead And from what I saw, the media and stuff like that, it seemed like they were still a success. Did they still sell out, or?
Honestly, it was a process, right? It was
Right.
a wave, you know. But all the weeks did sell out. We were maxed out every single week, just
Okay.
like a normal year. But what happened is it came in waves because basically this really was the most successful year we've ever had of camps, because of the energy, because of the people who came, and because of the coaches, because of everything, you know.
Because you had
2020
Joe
was
and Nils this year, right?
Joe, Nils, and Mary.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's right. Mary as
Mm-hmm.
well. Yeah.
And Joe, hats off, my hats off to Joe. You know, I love Joe for so many years since I met Joe. I think I met Joe when he was 14 or 15 at Roskilde, you know, and Joe was little Joe coming through, just destroying it and just shredding in his NIM skates, just like awesome little Joe. And now, you know, and I've been grateful to have him as a friend for all these years. You know, we've kept in touch. We're on Cayenne together. So, you know, we did a couple Razor things back in the day together. And yeah, so when Joe came through for the camps, I saw a whole nother Joe. You know, he came fully for the kids, fully
I was about to
to
say
give
he's
back.
personable, so he'll
He
pretty much talk to
smashed it.
anyone. So yeah.
He smashed it. Nils and Mary smash it always. They're just classics. They're the best. And, you know, it was Joe's first time. And this is a pretty intense, it's an intense week. You know, it's 6 days of 15, 16-hour days of people all around 24/7, you know, with not too much time to yourself, you know, and Joe smashed it. And he looked like he was enjoying it too. So yeah, this was definitely our best year, energetically, when it comes to people being happy. And honestly, the whole camp project is targeted at children. For the main idea of the camps is to cultivate that next generation, right?
Yeah.
And so for the first 3 or 4 years, obviously the first year of blading camps was just a bunch of my friends that I kind of had to please come down and help us create this new world for the kids. Because in the first year, we probably only had like 2 or 3 kids. Obviously, it was super hard. It's a new company. Parents didn't trust us. You know, it's hard to send a kid somewhere. And each year, it's gone progressively more and more and more and more kids. At the same time, the back to bladers, the 30+ bladers are signing up now more than ever as well. But for us, the icing on the cake was this year, because in the whole drama of the pandemic and the whole world canceling and everybody in Malaga saying, you guys are making COVID parties, you can't do this, you're going to get everybody sick, what the hell's wrong with you? We had the other side of the world. We had parents sending us emails, and every parent sent the same message. And the message clearly was, please, 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 whatever you do, don't cancel this week for my kid. My kid is in an apartment. He's 14, he's 15, she's 16. They're going crazy. They're teenagers with hormones. They need this more than anything ever.
I mean, yeah, as a parent, if I'm looking forward to sending my kid away for a week and then suddenly that's not happening, I'm going to be pretty devastated as well. I'd be sending you an email. Take my child.
Right. So what do we do? So for Wani and I, for the company, financially, it was pretty rough because we had so many people cancel. We had the weeks were planned at 40 to 50 riders, because that was the new norm. And that's the year before. It was super successful. Everybody loved the bigger group. So we said, okay, let's just try the new groups. Well, this year, as it all happened, we had everything registered and planned for close to 200 people, right? And so life plays, right? I paid all the reservations and all the buses, all the houses, everything on February 1st of every single year. February 1st, we put the deposits down and we get ready for the year. I kind of turn in my final numbers and then go from there. Well, 2 weeks after I paid the reservation, 2 weeks after Winter Clash, this all hit. So we just were like, it was like a game of poker. We were completely in 100%. So basically, we ran at 35 to 40% capacity this year, but we have the experience of the previous 2 years, how to run and make work a camp for 20. So basically we just stretched all the numbers as hard as we could to stay afloat, to not destroy the company. I mean, we were literally like one move away, 2 people cancel or something like that, and we lost the whole company, because we were so invested in the year. But
that's what I was going to ask. Like, I was going to say, what adjustments did you make for coronavirus? Because obviously you have to be more sensible about it. But it sounds like your solution to that was to just reduce the numbers to make it safer for everyone.
Yeah, we so it was funny. We had black and white here. I think I'm pretty lucky because I'm in the mountains. So I wasn't in Malaga. I wasn't in the city. I didn't really experience this.
Yeah, it's going to be less intense, and any lockdown you're going to have more freedom because you're
right
out of the way, basically. Yeah.
And there were cops, there were police on every corner in Malaga, making sure nobody came out of their house. It's crazy. So I think grateful to that experience, I did not have to live so extreme. I kind of had like a horse with blinders. To me, what was happening wasn't so bad. Obviously, I saw the media, I saw things, but I was here in my own world. Maria and I were with the garden. We were in nature. Life was perfect. We almost didn't even notice what was happening. So, when everybody kept saying, "Oh, you have to cancel. You're going to get everybody sick. What's wrong with you?" I'm thinking, what the hell's wrong with you? Like there's, we're fine. We're healthier than ever down here. What are you talking about? So, thankful for my horse with blinders. I just steered the course, like no way this is going to cancel. No way we're going to lose this project after all of this. And then around May, all the emails from the parents started coming in, and the parents were like I was saying, please don't cancel, please don't cancel, please don't cancel. So Wani and I got together and we're like, okay, how do we do this? Like we have to do this. It's there's no other opportunity. Like we have a responsibility to the community to keep going. So we played the number game. We cut. I got close with the bus company. I got them to cut the price basically in half for me. Same with the house. I got the house to reduce all of our fees. Like just basically going to all of my partners with my heart wide open, saying, "Look, we're screwed. If we can get through this year together, next year we'll get this all back. We'll all survive together. And what do you guys need to survive? This is what I need to survive." And I had this.
They're probably just happy that the bookings were going ahead, because I assume if you don't stay, you don't pay the full amount. You're just paying a deposit or whatever it is.
Exactly. And what was really cool is I've become really good friends with the owner of the bus company. He lives in the village, in the local village with me, or next to me. So I see him quite often, and he always was freaking out because every time I'd call him, I'd say, "Hey, okay, Jose, we got now we're with 16 people. We need the small bus. Oh, okay, Jose, we have 50. We need the big bus." And everything was changing every single day. He's like laughing. And at one point he called me one day and he was like, "Listen," he's like, "Who the hell are you?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? Who am I?" I was like, "I'm just a kid from Texas that rollerblades." And he was like, "Dude, everything is shut down. The whole country is shut down. Nobody's doing anything. And you're making all these bookings. You got all these people coming from all over the world still. Who the hell are you?"
The Glow Show. I'm keeping the Glow Show on the road.
Cool. That got me motivated. I was like, "Oh shit, wow!" And but then that opened the door, because he was like, "Listen, you're the only one making reservations with me. So whatever you need to keep afloat, just let's do it." So we came to the conclusion. He's like, "I need this amount of money to cover the fees." And I said, "Perfect. I can give you this and then give you that later." And boom, and 0 for 0, we cleared it and we made it.
It must have also been kind of frustrating, because obviously you've said they're getting bigger every year. And from what I see, most recent years have sold out. So you must have obviously budgeted for earning more money than what you did. So that's got to be kind of annoying.
Yeah, it hit us pretty hard, you know, because we're living from this now. This is 100%, you know, life is fully invested into this project. So yeah, I mean, we planned for a lot bigger turnaround, but all in all, it's all good. You know, I'm good with numbers. I know how to stretch something into something more. And all in all, you know, super happy and lucky that the project is still alive, you know, regardless of financial success or financial failure for 1 year. It's all good, you know.
Well,
It's
just means you
part
can't
of the
buy as
game.
many grains now. You need to buy less, smaller sacks of
I
grains.
mean, I just got to rob some seeds from the bio produce that I have. You know, it's all good. Seeds make more seeds. That's the beautiful thing about nature.
You kind of touched on it, and I was gonna ask if this is a venture that you're now able to live off, because from what I understand, you pay for all the guys to go out to instruct, right? Like when Montre
Sure.
and Joe and Nils and like Mary and that come out, you're covering their flights.
For sure, for sure.
And
We
do they
cover
get paid as well, or how
for
does
sure,
that all work?
for sure. They all have a salary. Everybody has a salary, you know, and we try to make it fair, right? We have an entry salary for first year coaches, and then each year we raise the salary of every rider, or excuse me, of every coach. So we pay all their flights and we pay their salaries, as well as every single year we improve it. You know, it's maybe 50 or 60 euros more each year, but at least it's something else, you know. And now we've also created these bonus codes to where each coach gets more money for a rider who uses their code.
I
So there's
wondered
even
about
more
that because
opportunity.
I saw that Joe
Yeah,
had like a discount code and Nels did, and
yeah.
I was
And they're
wondering how
and
that
they're
worked out.
smashing it. They're smashing it this year. They're all smashing it. So yeah, it's a way for us to give them more, you know. And then for us it works out well because it's like an initiative to promote a little more. If they're bored, they don't need anything to post, well, post something about the camps, throw out your code, and you can make some extra cash, you know.
Yeah, that's
Because
pretty cool.
I
Yeah.
when I was in Texas, I worked for when I was in university, I worked for a tire company, and I made this company so much freaking money. It's unbelievable. I sold tires, and the markup and the return on tires is incredibly large. And I remember like I remember working for this company for like 5 or 6 years, and I never made any more money, you know. And I thought this is weird, you know. I started working for this company making like 12, 13 bucks an hour, and I'm still making the same amount of money, you know.
That's
And
kind of
this was
strange in a
something,
sales job because normally you get
yeah,
rewarded for high
right,
sales.
right,
That's the
right.
whole point.
That's what I thought. I thought they'd give me good bonuses. I thought they'd give me more money. I was actually thinking they'd give me a store at one point because I was like, you know, on top. And it just didn't work that way, you know. I mean, they were like, "Sorry, kid, you're just a kid. You're still in university. Sit on the elevator and wait your turn." And I thought, man, F this, you know, this is not how life should be. So I kind of made a decision, like, conscious decision that like when I'm running a company or when I'm running things, like people are going to keep making more money every single year because life gets more and more expensive. My
Yeah.
rent goes up every year. My electricity goes up every year. And I mean, okay, if it's not a crazy raise, but at least it's something. It's something to say, hey, I see you, you're awesome, and I appreciate you. So here's more. And
Yeah.
next year there's more coming, because honestly, that's how it should be. Or at least that's how I want it to be, you know. And so that's what we're doing with the camps.
Well, plus it makes sense because it should be a mutually beneficial relationship. Because if you've got someone like Nils or Montre or Joe who have a big fan base and a lot of influence,
Right.
if you're going to benefit off their influence, they should
Exactly.
get something in return. So if they're bringing essentially clients into Blading
Exactly.
Camp and customers, they should get, yeah, like that. It should work out for them as well. So yeah,
Exactly.
that does sound, and it's kind of surprising that more. You've obviously carved this niche for you within a niche sport, which is very rare. Very few skaters take that initiative and do that. And you know, Haffy managed to do it with Nitro Circus. Nils has managed to do it like with Rosie's and like doing his vlogs and stuff like that. And Joe's managed to do it. Joe's basically managed to do it without sponsors, essentially.
Right.
He's got like some very small sponsors to help here, but he's basically managed to do it with Blading Camp, with competition winnings, to the point where you kind of start to think, do we need these sponsorship? Like, is sponsorship an outdated concept? Because if the skater's smart enough, they should just be. Of course, ideally, we would like blading companies to support riders and give them some form of security. But there's also a lot to be said for the rider's responsibility in that. Should the rider, if they're smart enough, not be able to find their own way to make it work for them, like the aforementioned people have? So I think stuff like that is good because it leads towards transparency. And now you're
exactly
are being honest about what they're giving their riders. They're like, if you buy this product, the rider gets this.
Exactly.
So at least, you know, the customer knows, oh, if I buy that skate, that person's getting $10. Or if I buy that wheel, that person's getting a $5. Whereas before, no one knew. Like it was support, but it was blind support. You know, you were like, oh, I'm buying Montre's skate, but you don't know how much Montre's getting.
Right.
Whereas now you're starting to get an idea.
Here's a great example for us. When Quinny, Alex, and I were on the Razor team, we used to do tours and did all this together, and we had a run, a few months where we were getting money per trick, right? Cash per trick. Yeah, I
remember this because was it not like the filmer got something and the skater got something? Is that right?
Right.
I remember this.
Right. It was an initiative from Andy to motivate the riders to skate more, which was necessary because, you know, you got to understand his point of view. This dude sends people all over, and the people just party and sit in an apartment all day. And
he needs a return on his investment.
He needs a return, so that makes sense, right? So, anyways, but the transparency thing, what we're talking about, is pretty funny because we all had a different agreement with the boss. We weren't all making the same. Alex was making one number, Quinny was making one number, I was making one number. I'm not going to divulge any of this information, but this is part of what we have to fix right now. It has to be transparent. And this is why Julio is the king. This is why John is on top right now, because he's transparent with everything, and he's honest, and it's only helping him. It's only helping the whole industry, you know, and Julio is a big hero of mine, just not even from skating, obviously from skating, but from how he is as a human, from how he handles his friends and his family, because it's a company, but it's a family. And for me, the camps and everything I'm involved with, if it's Red Eye, if it's Blade Life, if it's Out on Skate, it's family. It's just family first, you know?
It does seem like, I've lost count of the amount of people I've spoken to now who John has helped out, even though they're not knowingly associated with any of his brands. So say they're not actually technically sponsored by them or whatever. But I'm like, oh, did you buy those skates? And they're like, no, John just gave me them. And I'm like, whoa, okay, John's like Santa Claus. John Julio's just handing out free skates to everyone.
It's so good, man. I'm so happy for it, man. It's about time, man. It's so good for all of us.
It's really weird that you kind of touched on it. I mentioned Stefan Brando and John Fromm before, and their issue with razors is really weird because you obviously haven't seen their podcasts.
Yeah.
But they basically summarized exactly what you said. Everyone got different information. So whenever riders actually spoke to each other, that's when it all like came to light.
That's when it fell apart. Yeah.
John basically was so upset because he was told one thing.
Yeah.
And then he'd speak to another rider and realize that they were told something else. And it kind of felt like Andy was playing them off against each other. And that's what he took objection to, because one example he said was he wanted the Carell skate because he wanted to promote it and make an edit. And Andy was like, oh, Carell said you can't have it. But then when John spoke to Carell's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. He's like, I don't.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of instances of that, or he'd find out like such and such got a certain amount of money, but this person didn't. And he just felt like he was being misled.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah. That can be a theme with that brand for sure. Mm-hmm.
Are you still skating for Razors?
I still have skates. Yeah. I still have Razor skates because I like them. I love them to death. You know what I mean? I haven't really transitioned into anything else right now, but Yeah, I'm still skating for Razors, but I don't have much contact with them anymore.
Okay.
Basically, since when all the COVID stuff happened, they basically contacted us and said, "Listen, no more products. For that's it. That's all." They canceled ground control. All of our budget from ground control got kind of smashed in one day. Joe Zink got
I
the boot.
remember Yo was saying like he basically lost his job doing whatever he was doing for them over it.
Yeah. Joe was our team manager. He did a fantastic job. We haven't had anything like that since Keaton. Keaton was our incredible team manager as well.
He basically revived the brand, because until then
he got it back going. Yeah. And so basically, obviously with what happened in China, all the factories were shut down. So Sunshine they had to keep all their products. They had to go to shops, and they couldn't go out to riders. Completely, I understand that. But since that moment, I've kind of lost touch with the brand, and I haven't really made the effort to recontact them right now. But let's see what the future holds. I don't really know.
All right. I've basically only got 3 questions about Razors, and then we can talk about all the other stuff, because I've got hundreds of other stuff I want to ask you about.
Cool.
When you first came to Europe in 2011, it was you and Fritz Peitzner, and you guys were just on a wrecking spree. You did the Fritz and Glow Invade Europe. You brought out all those sections. You toured like extensively throughout Europe, went to all the major events, basically met everyone that you're friends with now, and made a name for yourselves outside of the US. And Andy helped you with that, from what I understand, because I remember you were saying he gave you a list of events, went, go to these events. He gave you traveling money as well. And it felt like you were on the trajectory to become pro, because you then, I think it was like a year later, you got announced as the Razors Am team. You were bringing out sections pretty much 3 or 4 times a year. Like, it was on top of appearing in Razors montages, ground control. And it just felt like you were everywhere. Like, I couldn't see an event without you competing at it. Like, every other month, it felt like you were appearing in an online edit. And then it all just seemed to like abruptly stop.
Yeah.
And you were still everywhere. Like, you were still at all the events. You were still bringing out content, but you were no longer appearing on their social media. You were no longer getting promoted. And then they announced all the latest pro riders. And I was like, why is he not on this? Like, so they had Howie Bennett, Derek, Stefan, and John. But you were, if anything, you were more recognizable, and they're all incredible skaters. Nothing to take away, but you were more recognizable than all of them in Europe, which is a massive rollerblading market and customers, essentially. And in the US, because you were appearing at all these events, doing all the tours, doing the blading camps, Cayenne Project as well. And it was like, it seemed like they were doing everything to push you towards turning pro, and then just changed their mind.
This is all, that's exactly how it kind of played. But I honestly still am not sure really what all happened. I mean, I had the trajectory of the skate, the pro skate was coming out. I had it all designed.
I was like, did I imagine this? I remember you like showing me like ideas for your pro skate, but then you were never officially added to the pro team. So what happened?
No, I don't really know if I rubbed one of the team managers the wrong way. But basically, I received a couple messages from people inside Sunshine that said, some sarcastic messages like, "Oh, we wish the old Glow would come back. Oh, why are you wearing a helmet? Oh, stop wearing those weird pants. What happened to the old Glow?" I think basically when I turned left and everybody went right is when I lost Razors.
So you genuinely believe it's like some of it had to do with starting to wear a helmet? Because
no, it's the helmet. It's the helmet, I promise. Yeah.
But the main criteria for selling a skate is popularity. And there was because you need a customer base to sell it to. You can be the best skater in the world, but if no one likes you, or you
Right.
don't have a brand, like a personal brand that someone can latch onto. You had all that. And if anything, the weird yoga pants and the helmet made you look more unique because you didn't look like anyone else, and no one else was, everyone else had ditched the helmets. And you're skating around with the wild pants and the helmet with the pom pom and shit on it, but people still
Yeah,
loved
yeah,
it. So
no, and
and the skating
I
didn't
mean,
change.
skating didn't change at all. That was the thing. It was like I completely 180'd my image because I went from Flintstone skating, from the two-wheel anti-rocker skating,
I love it when you refer
to
to that like small wheel. You're like, if it's anti-rocker, it's like
it's
prehistoric blading.
it's
Yeah.
Flintstone blading. Yeah, respect to everybody who does it. Like I respect it, but to me, it's old school and outdated. But I'm also in a different environment. I skate in Spain. I have to skate flat rocker because the streets here are so rough. I'm an animal of my environment. I'm not in the US anymore where there's perfect concrete everywhere. I'm in the real world now. So yeah, Flintstone blading is a real thing, and it's really cool. But when I kind of evolved my Pokemon, went from two-wheel to four-wheel, I just went ahead and changed everything because I was testing the big frame, which I helped design.
Yeah.
So I had my big frame demo, and I went flat rocker and said, you know what, I'm going way too fucking fast now. I have to put on a helmet because if something happens, it's over. If I one fall at this speed, lights out.
Because you were hitting your head
So
as well. Because I'm sure you told me about something in Berlin where you smacked your head
yep,
and
yep,
it basically gave you a bit of a scare. What happened
yeah.
there?
Okay, so there's a clip. I gotta find the clip. I don't know where this clip is. I tried to sweat stance a ledge that was really high. It was a high ledge, and the typical sweat stance, my front foot missed, and then my body went around.
The sweep. Yeah. The
The
famous
sweep.
sweep. Yeah.
And I hit my head. Nils was there, Montre was there, Fred was there, Richie was there, everybody was there, the whole crew. And I woke up making jokes, and they took me to the hospital. Everything was I was fine. It was just a scare. The following day, or maybe a week after, Montre smacks his head on a jump box. Same day, Fred also smacks his head. And then Dave Lang has his brutal head injury.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Like, this all happened within like 2 or 3 weeks. And I was with the big frames. I was going really, really fast. I was trying to get back. I was really trying to create a new image of like Chris Edwards. I wanted to start jumping over cars. I wanted to start putting the helmet on and just flying. So you'll see kind of in 2014, 2015, my skating changed. I started jumping into things, going really, really, really fast and just jumping, and it's kind of what motivated me at the time because I was a tech skater from Texas, a true fish brain, how many rails, how many times. That got boring for me, so I had to
there's only
evolve.
so many times you can true fish stuff, and that one in forum's pretty unbeatable.
Thanks. So yeah, everything at this point shifted. So I said, you know what? If I'm gonna go flat rocker, I'm gonna change my look. I'm gonna just change everything. And my heroes, Farmer and Haffy and Alex, that they know how to do it. That's what you do. You constantly keep evolving your Pokemon, or you get boring. So that was part of the game. And when I put the helmet on, I lost all contact with razors. And I lost all contact with, or like I just got put in a different category. Like I wasn't cool,
It just seems really short-sighted on their part, especially after you've basically built up your own fan base, which is what every brand wants a skater to do. Every brand they don't want to create the skater. They want the skater to create themselves and they profit off it. And that's what you did. Okay.
Well, in the end, you know what, David, it worked out it worked out really good for me.
Well, that's
it.
it.
It worked out even better for me because my whole fan base is now blading camps.
Yeah, like that's what I was going to say. You've managed to turn it into a positive because you've went, well, instead of going for pro and begging for scraps and,
Right.
the $10 a clip or whatever it used to be, and I don't even think there is a salary now. Like, you've turned it into a sustainable business using your reputation and personality and proven ability on skates to now hopefully encourage others and get them excited about skating.
Right. Thank you for sure. And that kind of was this was the plan from day one. Like when I met you, I met Brian that year. I met Aragon. And I remember one of the first conversations I had with Aragon was in France, and he was like kind of bitter. He was like, "Oh man, I'm only getting X amount of thousands of euros a month and da da da." And I was like, "Holy fuck."
You're like, I
Okay,
can get thousands a month.
I was thinking, dang, dude, like you're killing it. Like you're killing it. But obviously, he had been years with the brand. So there was something I didn't understand. But it wasn't for me about the numbers. It was just about like, okay, the king of the world, in my eyes at the time, is unhappy.
Yeah.
How am I gonna last in this company? So from day one, I kind of knew I was playing with fire, and so from basically that moment of meeting Brian, I just kind of knew like, okay, I have to create my own thing, like of course with the support of these brands and these companies, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna be 35 or 40, and they're gonna look at more teenagers and then get. You know how just it's life, right?
They're going to need someone younger,
it's all
fitter.
good.
Yeah,
that's just part of it. Yeah. And so that was, another thing with the helmet. The helmet was so important because at this point, like you said, like I was doing all these tours and I was doing all these events, and then all of a sudden it just abruptly ended. Well, it abruptly ended because I chose to stop doing so much for the company. I said, you know what? Y'all want to cut the budget so much. Well, that's it. I'm out, I'm going to start focusing on my camps. So this is when I took control of my kind of destiny, and I started to fly myself to Nils's contest. I started to fly myself to Sweden, fly myself to Latvia, and create in collaboration with Fred, in collaboration with Nils, in collaboration with Quinny, when different people, we started to do camps. And the helmet was the only logical thing to do for camps, because all of my fans,
it's promoting safety and self-preservation.
Right,
yeah,
everything was kids. Everything I did for 3 or 4 years straight was kids. And so, it couldn't be a hypocrite and say, kids, wear your helmet.
Yeah, I'm not, because I'm too cool and I'm better than you. But you have to wear a helmet. Yeah.
So this is the evolution of it all. And now I just love it. Now I don't feel like myself without it. So, thank the universe that it worked out,
It is like, it's one of these things that we all as skaters just kind of take as a risk, going, oh yeah, there's a chance we're going to, but with so many friends in your close friendship group, it's just hit home and become a reality. Like you mentioned Freddie obviously started wearing a helmet. Don't remind me, I want to ask about him later as well. I want to come back to Fred.
Okay.
But yeah, there's Fred, there was you, Montre was hitting his head, and then obviously Fritz at Powwow. Like, wow. I think a lot of people were really scared that Fritz wasn't going to come back from that. So it's basically become quite prominent within so many people that on a person. Like Fritz is one of like your closest friends from growing up. So when stuff like that happens to your friend, that is a wake-up call.
Right. And at the end of the day, it's just you and yourself. When this all ends, and then when we all get older and things happen, whatever, it's just you and yourself in the end. So who cares if you're wearing a helmet and somebody thinks you're not cool, or who cares if, you have to be healthy and take care of yourself and your family, and that's all that matters,
Yeah, definitely. You and Freddie were like joined at the hip for years.
Yeah, man.
You were always staying out there in Sweden. You were traveling everywhere together. He came out to Texas. I remember he bumped his head, and then did he break his leg?
He broke his leg at a feast. I think at a feast event in Budapest. I think. Yeah.
And then he never came back.
Yeah. He lost. I would say. I mean, I don't want to speak for Fred, because maybe we'll ask Fred what happened. But being a close friend, I think I can just say he lost that spark. He lost that super motivation, because Fred is such a machine. When Fred's turned on, he doesn't miss anything ever.
He was an insane park skater. Yeah,
unbelievable. And yeah, I think that leg break or knee break or whatever it was really scared him. Really put him into like, okay, oh shit, this is real. So
Because his family still have the skate park, don't they? 016?
still have the skate park. He's still working at the skate park. It's still his.
Right.
You know, they still run it. I talk to him. I talk to Fred pretty regularly, every couple of days. You know, and yeah, the skate park still has good growth. You know, they go through different waves of scooter riders. Now it's back to blading. Now it's back to scootering. Da 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 da. So it's a pretty big staple for the community. You know, like he keeps a lot of kids out of bad influences and out of because in Sweden, in Eskilstuna, in their city, it's pretty easy to get wrapped into, you know, shit.
All right, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, it's a pretty, I mean, I don't know. I never saw it. I never saw it too much, but from now that I got older and I kind of look back and see things that we kind of avoided, it's a pretty rough part of the world. It can be a pretty rough part of the world. So he keeps a lot of the kids, giving them a place to be themselves and to not get sucked into smoking and drinking and the typical, you know, stuff.
Right. Okay. Yeah, they've got an amazing facility there because, yeah, I remember all the events and stuff. And obviously, you did camps there before when it was like Gypsy Camp or Flight School or what?
Yeah.
I remember all the names. I remember all the different names.
The evolution, it's evolved.
Yeah. I've got one last question about razors, and then I want to talk about all the Cayenne stuff. I heard a rumor that razors wanted to make a blading camp skate, but you turned them down. So what happened there?
Basically, this was maybe last year, and this is pretty new information. It's funny you heard, eh?
That's why they pay me the big bucks. That's why I've got the Lambo in the driveway.
Next I want to go for a ride, huh?
Right, cool.
Okay, so basically, I was offered at the same moment. I was offered a pro skate. And I was offered a blading camp skate, 2 different skates. And I was working with Andy because I wanted it to be something cool. You know, I didn't want it to be like a reprint, or I didn't want it to be just like the typical put my face on a box and sell it for 6 years. I sign a contract and you can use my name forever sort of thing. You know, because I know how it all works, you know. I've been in this company for 15 years. So, yeah. So anyways, basically they wanted to just put blading camp logos on like an SL and or not even an SL, on a shift and reprint it and go with it. And I said, you know what, that's kind of like super cool. I love the idea, but I would like, you know, royalties. I would like you at least to pay for 3 or 4 kids, you know, that can't afford to come to camp. Let's put a golden camp ticket in the skates, or let's put recycled cardboard, or let's do some sort of ecological skate with recycled plastic, or let's do something that's not just you reprinting on your old stock. And you know, I just got laughed at, and that's it. So I declined both offers, and here we are.
Yeah, that
sucks.
I kind of thought it would be something a lot. I thought you would be like intelligent and stand up for yourself and say, well, you're not just putting my name and my work on this. I want royalties. But the fact that you actually wanted to make it a community thing and potentially make it something that would benefit other skaters as well, but they didn't see the value in that, is quite disappointing. Because like, you've got Roses that are working towards, you know, using better plastics or like recycled plastics. And you've got these other brands that are working towards basically bettering the community and the industry as a whole. And it just kind of feels like that's not their intention at all. It feels like they just don't really see any value in that.
Yeah, I think it's hard, and it's not really to judge Jeff, to judge Jeff or judge Andy or Marco. You know, they're 3 people that have their hands completely full. You know, I totally understand. Like, Andy's running companies and he's got regular life happening too. You know, life's not easy. Life's got some dramas here and there, you know? So I kind of get it, you know, because of the whole stress with this whole China thing, and the production stopped on everything, and then scooter stuff blew up, and then everything just hit the fan at once. I get it. But yeah, you know, it's not I guess it's because it's not really, I don't want to say that his heart's not in it. I think his heart is in it, but I think at the same time that he's just burned. The guy's been burned too many times from so many things. So he's super cautious, because I know Andy, and he's a good person. He's helped people. He's kind of like the thing you said about John earlier. Like Andy for the long time was doing the same thing. Like Andy helped so many people all over the world in so many ways. But then again, if you get burned 100 times, how many times are you going to keep putting your hand in the fire? So I think, I'm not trying to cover for him or take his back or anything like that, but I see the big picture. You know what I mean? I kind of understand.
Yeah. You always have to see
is.
it from the other person's perspective as well, because they can be going through stuff, or they can have pressures that you're not aware of. So yeah.
Exactly. But I know for a fact, like, for me, like I had, again, like we talked about earlier, every relationship with Sunshine was the person and Andy. They had their own agreements. And so Andy and I always had a super great communication, super crystal clear. We fight like cats and dogs, but at the end of the day, we ended with a handshake. Everything's cool. Great. We have different opinions, but with respect, and it was always, it was always pretty cool. I always kind of thought, wow, this is okay, cool. And whatever. But at the end of the day, he always helped me. If I had, if stuff hit the fan, like if I was in the middle of Russia or in the middle of France, or if I was somewhere just with nothing, I could call Andy and say, dude, I'm screwed. Can you help me out? And he would always send me money. Always. So from that perspective, he's got my respect, and he's got, my gratitude forever, because the dude really took care of me, like, really well. Obviously some things didn't go as planned, the skate or the whatever. Well, I get it. But at the end of the day, I try really hard to see his point of view, and I'm grateful for all of his help over the years, because, thanks to him, I met Aragon, I met Dre, I met Horn, I met Matthias, I met Quinny, I met Alex, I met all of my heroes that now are my closest friends, and now I have my own skate company, and everything's going well. And it's because this dude gave me an opportunity. So I'm grateful,
Yeah, definitely. You have to see it from the wider perspective, and not just your own personal situation. I can only imagine how hard it must have been to turn down a pro skate, though, even if the conditions weren't as you wanted, because I know how much you wanted that, because we talked about it before, and that was basically what your purpose was. You were like, I want a skate, I want a legacy, I want to be remembered. And now you're going to be remembered, but just in a different sense and on your terms. But it still must have been hard to turn, because what teenage kid does not want a skate with their name on it? So teenage Josh must have been like, shut the fuck up and take the skate.
No. It was pretty hard. A lot of my work these days right now is really about humbling myself, and really just being grateful just to even be here, just to even be in the industry, and to have friends from all over the world, and stuff like this. Because I had a phenomenal run. It's still going, but I mean, like
it's definitely still going. Yes.
But when, like, what you're talking about, like when Fritz and I ran 8 months all over the world, every week in a new country, with salaries, with apartments, like it was unbelievable, and part of it is me still handling my teenager ego, my teenager who wants that pro skate, who wants to have a name on a skate. In the end, it's just an ego trip for me. It's something that little me wants to have, but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that I'm a better skater. It doesn't mean that I'm cool. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a tick on the box that says, okay, ego wins another thing. So I'm really, I guess this is part of my life lesson, is to learn, how to humble myself a little more, and be grateful for everything that I do have, because I have a lot. And the skate, I'm still not really, I still think the skate will come. I have faith. It just might be through different means. It might be a surprise, but I think the skate will still eventually come.
Never write off. And I think that is a really cool perspective to have on it, that yeah, it's not the be all and end all. And you've done so much more than that with other aspects of your blading. So um want to talk about Cayenne Project. Quadro, where the hell
Yeah.
were you? What, like, I turn on the video, I watch it to
Yeah.
the end, I go
Yeah.
back to the start, and I'm like, there's a certain element is missing from this video.
Damn.
What the hell happened?
Damn. Well, life happened. Life really happened. So last year when they, everything was planned in October to shoot. And basically, my wife and I had just taken our new house. Camps had just ended. I had just taken a job in the village teaching English. So I was kind of in a different phase of life. And since we had just taken the house, we're in the countryside. We kind of have I wouldn't say we have a big house, but we have a house that needs to have two people here. You know what I mean? Like we have, it's got to have the fire going and have, keep this place warm, keep it going. And there were certain aspects of life that I couldn't just drop and go skating for a month. And again, it's another process of humbling my child, my inner child, because this was probably the hardest decision and the hardest no I ever had to say in my life. You know what I mean? To tell the boys, listen, I can't come. But it was just basically like I made a conscious choice that this year I need to be here. I need to be in Spain, get Spain really, solid, and get the foundations really well built here. And I can't just leave for a month right now. So it really just was a bad timing on my part, So, but it sucked, man. I wanted to be there so much, but yeah.
Well, are they going to let you go on the next trip after you've already said no? Is that a strike against your name now? If you
No,
get two
no,
more
no,
strikes, you're out. You're at the crew.
no. I spoke with one thing that really hit me hard this year was I went to Winter Clash, and I saw David at Winter Clash, and David came up and gave me a really big hug, and he was like, "Dude, I never realized how important it was to have you on the tour until you weren't there." He's like, "We really missed you in Mexico," And for me, like, David's one of my heroes as well as a good friend. But David also is not really a man of many words. David doesn't really tell many people like, "Hey, you're cool," or "Hey, I like you," or you know what I mean? He's pretty quiet. So that really hit me hard. That was really like, wow, okay, wow, that's super cool to hear. Like I didn't realize I had such an impact in the group. Obviously, we've been on four tours. We've done a lot together, but
In every
it was
video, you're
really,
like the loudest guy in the video. What do you mean you don't have an impact? Like you can in so many clips, you can just hear you screaming in the background
I don't know if that's a good thing or a
or
bad
running
thing,
around
man.
doing this. Like,
Jeez. Yeah.
so I think that is
So
like, everyone needs a hype man.
yeah. And that's pretty much what David said, like we missed you this summer. We felt your presence when it wasn't there. So, but no, everything's cool for the fifth video. We're already talking about it and trying to figure out where to go and how to do it and how to make the budget work. And yeah, there's already talks about number 5, and let's see where to go.
We had Carson on, and he was saying that he said that there were multiple options that could have been the fourth video, but they said one of the later decisions was to do Mexico. So I'm assuming there's backup plans that haven't yet been explored.
Yeah. I think from my perspective, I'm really pushing us to stay in Europe. I want us to stay in Europe. I want us to stay in Europe and have one video where we consolidate the budget and do it normal. Because we drop
Not
20K
just take
every
such
move we
massive
make.
risks. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And it's amazing, but at 5 videos now, this needs to be, from my point of view, I want this. I think it needs to be, it needs to be, it needs to start working. It
Sustainable.
needs to start, yeah, because from my perspective, I'm not speaking for everybody. I'm speaking from my perspective. So for me to take a month out of life is super hard right now. Super hard, between the camps, between the house, between my work here teaching English, like everything. It's got to be, I can't take a month to go have fun and party. I mean,
Yeah.
I can, but I'm not really in that level anymore. I had 9 years of Roskilde. What more do I need?
That's a lot of partying. Yeah.
So for me, I'm pushing everybody right now to like really get a brand. Like, this is a brand, you guys, of 12 of the most powerful people on the industry. Like, why don't we put our heads together and make something super easy and super, you know what I mean? Like, get this thing going.
Yeah. There's definitely like unexplored avenues of making things like that pay for themselves. Like premieres alone, like if you did a series of paid, like pay per entry, like ticketed premieres, that means you're not just relying on video sales, because people pay to go to the premiere for the experience.
For sure.
That can be a revenue, but then you can have the video sales on top of it. I think videos are underutilized in how they are written. They can become so much more than just a video. It can become, a live experience as well, which I think a lot of people haven't really touched on yet.
Right. And I think also too, with the Cayenne, the Cayenne has created its own community.
Yeah.
There are some of the fan base in the Cayenne Project is unbelievable, is really truly something special. People are just waiting for the next one, and there are people also that are buying the books, they buy the shirts, like there is it's, whether we want to admit it or not, it's become a brand,
Of course it has, because people buy into crews. Like, you had the Senate kill team back in the day, and it was like a unit, and everyone wanted to be in the kill team. And then, you had Haitian magazine, and they had like their like little group. And, when you watch those videos, you're like, they look like they're having the most fun. I want to be in there, or like Strange Creatures and stuff like that. And you guys have the same thing going on. It's like, you don't just look like a bunch of random skaters out filming clips. You look like a crew that are having the time of your lives. So people are going to, emotionally invest in that.
Right. It's just been really hard for the past few years because there's so many of us. We're 12. In the end, we're 12 people, right? So there's no boss, right? And at the end of the day, also nobody really wants to take over and say, look, all right, I'm going to take this and run with it. All right, let's go. Because this is what's so hard about being in community. It's also what's so good about being in community. There's a lot of opinions. You do it all with community, but at the end of the day,
the perils of democracy.
Right. And because this is kind of one of the issues we had with the camps, like the gypsy camps, right? When I met you, the gypsy camps were on fire. We were doing 6 or 7 camps per year in the whole world, in Belgium, in Sweden, in Scotland, in Denmark, in Amsterdam. We were everywhere. But it was Richie, Montre, myself, and Fred, and Quinny. Between the 5 of us, we didn't have any boss. Nobody took the reins and said,
that's a lot of opinions. So yeah.
Right. And nobody took over and said, okay, I'm gonna take this and we're gonna make this something. You know what I mean? Because that in the end, that's kind of what it takes. That's what John had to do with them. That's what anybody has to do. Somebody has to say, okay, this is a beautiful thing we got going, but we need to put it in gear and create with it. Because in the end, it's just a big party, or just like the gypsy camps. The gypsy camps were a beautiful thing. They worked well, but at the end, nobody was living from it. It was a party. It was great. Kids were learning, but we could have been 6 or 7 years ago. This could have already been well established, but you know what I mean? And everything has a time and place. So it's just, as you get older, you kind of see how things can develop really quickly, and that's kind of what I'm seeing with the experience of the camps. I see Cayenne right now and I'm like, gosh, we are just sitting on gold. And we are just sleeping on gold right now. And we're not doing very much with this. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of factors in it that are like legal factors, like, putting a company in which country, the taxes on the video. Like, there's a lot of legalities that have to be solved before we move forward. And it's like I said, with 12 of us, it's hard, you know,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's coming, man. It's coming, you know.
You've got to be one of the most well-traveled skaters currently still going. I mean, you've been all over Europe, the Americas, obviously all over the States as well, Taiwan, Peru. I've lost. Yeah, I can't keep up with how many countries you've been to. What's been like the most eye-opening one you visited? Which country have you visited and just been like, this has changed me? I feel like a different person after visiting this place. Or what's been the kind of most intense experience?
Cool question, huh? Cool question. I think being from the States, one of the most intense, coolest, and eye-opening experience had to have been Russia. Had to have been going to Moscow, and then a few years later going back, and then a few years later going to Siberia, because I was lucky to make summer camps in Siberia as well for a good 3 years. And yeah, for me, Russia to see just a whole new perspective. You know, it's a completely different world there. You know, they live differently, they see the world differently. It's very community, you know what I mean? It's obviously I can't say like, oh, it's the best place, because I realize politically it's got its things going like everywhere in the world. But I was really impressed with Siberia and with Russia, and just blew my mind. So cool. So cool.
I thought you were going to hit me with going to didn't you go to like Inca ruins as well at some point? Have I imagined this?
What's Inca ruins?
Didn't you go to like the big pyramid somewhere?
Yeah, and we went to Cusco and Machu Picchu.
That was it. Yeah, I thought you were gonna like hit me with one of those. This was a spiritual experience.
Well, this is another story. Yeah, this is another one. This is the reason I am vegetarian was from that experience. Yeah, that's when it all started for sure. This was 2014 when we went, Richie, Dominic, Fred, Peterson, the whole crew. We went to Peru. Richie just dropped his Richie Eisler in Canada. It got 1 million views. We were just hitting refresh on the YouTube. Oh my God, 500,000. Oh my God, 800,000, 1 million. We were on the rooftop in Peru watching it blow. And wow, that was a cool moment. So we celebrated by going to Machu Picchu. And yeah, we met some rollerbladers that took us in, that took care of us, that showed us all the temples, and really just eye-opening experience as well. But that's another level, you know. That was another journey right there.
the moment when Richie went viral, right? Okay.
How many times has Richie gone viral now? This guy is unstoppable.
Yeah. You've obviously also had some scary experiences. So I remember one where you and Nils got beat up by the police. Where was that? Was that in where did that happen? Poland or?
Yeah. That happened in Poland. You get your ass kicked
by the police. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the moment, Dave. That was another big moment where I said, why am I drinking? Drinking is so stupid. Why do I do this?
What happened?
Yeah, that was in.
Was it you were running over police cars or something, or running over cars?
No,
and one was a police car or something. I can't remember the details.
Let me just. I really get embarrassed to talk about this, but yeah, we were in a group of like 30 skaters, right? And it was like this kind of mob skater mentality
takes over.
Yeah, of like, but like I'm talking like astronomical energy, like astronomical levels of vibes, of energy, of everybody's super happy. Nils just arrived from Latvia, you know, I was from Texas, and it was just like blah. It was just wild. It was a wild
testosterone
night.
Everywhere. Yeah,
everywhere. The night before the event, you know, and one thing led to another, and we had too much to drink, and we went silly. We just went silly. Yeah. Bad news.
Out of all the places you've traveled, have there been any other like close calls or scary experiences where you've thought, God, we're kind of lucky to like survive that incident? Because you've been to some pretty remote places and essentially some pretty lawless places as well, where, have there been any other conflicts or confrontations or things that have happened where you just thought, holy shit, I feel pretty vulnerable right now?
Honestly, no. I've had some close calls. I've had some really awesome luck. I've had police officers be my friends when I think that they don't want to be my friends, or when I've done something wrong. And I really have just been fortunate, and I can attribute this to really, I just believe in energy, and I believe in vibes, and when I go and when I travel, I go with the purest intentions, to learn, to create, to understand a different perspective. You know what I mean? I'm not going to a new place like, oh, here comes the American, give me English. I'm deeply immersed in every culture. I'm trying to learn Russian when I'm there. I'm trying to learn French. I'm learning Italian. Like, I'm trying to respectfully, be part of a culture that I'm visiting. So I think with this perspective, the universe is taking care of me in a lot of these places, because I've been in some really sketchy areas. I've done some really silly things, and gotten away pretty clean, with like a pat on the wrist, or don't do that again, or ha ha ha. So yeah. No, lucky boy here, that's for sure.
I think that's got a lot to do with your outlook and your kind of positive persona that you give off, because if you go around with a negative outlook or being kind of self-righteous, you're going to get bit in the ass for it. It's just going to come to you eventually. It's just karma,
For sure.
whether you believe in that or not. It's just, if you act like an asshole, you're going to get treated like one eventually. But
right. And
but you don't seem to approach navigating the world like that.
No, I don't. No, not at all. Not at all. And I have to say, like, I do really believe, like, what would you say, the thief and the victim are two of the same coin, right? The victim has to put out this energy of like fear. Oh my God, this is dangerous. Ha la la. And then the thief, or the person who's mugging this person or whatever would happen, obviously picks up on this, and can easily, there's a target, boom. So energetically speaking, like, if you don't give off this kind of stuff, then you're not gonna get it. You're gonna get the old lady who wants to give you dinner and bring you inside her home and cook y'all her local dish. You know what I mean? Like, it's what I believe. I don't know. I can't really prove it, but it's just what I've lived.
I think that's a positive outlook to have. So you've mentioned this, and we've spoke about it before. You mentioned Sizemore earlier, saying that, yeah, he was someone that you looked up to, and then you became close friends. I remember we were talking before about how you basically used to like idolize Richie Eisler, and then he became one of like your best friends. Has there been anyone else, like, over the years that you just met and you've thought, God, like, I have like this massive connection with this person, and it's just kind of taken you aback by how close a friendship you've developed with an individual in Bladen, because you've obviously met pretty much everyone there is to meet in skating?
Yeah, I'm constantly impressed by Montre. I think Montre is one of my closest friends, and still one of the people that I'm like, wow, Montre is my friend. Like, that's cool. That's really cool, because yeah, I'm from a smaller village in Texas, so for a little Texas boy to get up and get out and get around is, to me, still a really cool thing to look back on, so yeah, Trey, Richie, it's pretty much all of, I've had a lot of heroes that have become my friends. Nils, I looked up to Nils, even though I'm older than Nils. I've looked up to Nils for a long time, just how he is.
He's been around forever, though. Yeah.
Yeah. At 14, he was on top, so yeah, life is fun, like, John, I'm starting to have a little bit of contact with John, and that for me is like another dream come true. Like, wow, I'm talking to Julio. I think
the boss man,
the president. I think, okay, here's a cool one. I used to, growing up, I had a photo of John Ortiz, doing a soyal in his oxygen skates, right?
Right.
Big oxygen skates, and John with the soyal, right? With his big old lips, John Ortiz lips. Yeah, what up, John? And so yeah, John was a hero, of mine from when I was an Ehi. And the first year of camps, John sent me a message on Instagram, and he said, "Wow, what you're doing looks so freaking cool. Can I help?" And I was like, "What? Huh?" And the door just opened up, and John has become one of my best friends as well. I went to New York and stayed with him. He comes over and visits us whenever he's got time, and now he works with the camps as well whenever he wants to. And it's just like, yeah, this is a wild industry where our heroes quickly become our friends.
Yeah, John is everywhere. Like I know he does. I think he teaches skating in New York as well, doesn't it? For what they call Go Sports or something like that.
So John has a partner, Ray Mendez, and Ray and John run I guess it's a company. They run a company in New York, and they teach inline skating programs with a really famous hockey player who's named Mark Messier, played for the New York Rangers back in the 90s. Right. And so basically, they work together with Mark Messier, who basically wants to put a lot of people on ice skates, right? So the first step to people ice skating would be to teach them how to inline skate.
Yeah.
So they developed a program with this hockey player, how to basically get people in the Bronx and in Brooklyn and all in Lower Manhattan and all these New York schools, how to get them kind of skating and eventually onto ice skates, so that they can kind of be a part of this new community that they're creating. And well, they absolutely are smashing it in New York. They put 3,000 or 4,000 kids a day on skates. John's got so many 10 to 12 employees. They run classes in the New York school system. So they have like 3 or 4 PE classes or gymnasium classes per day, 45 minutes per day. The kids come in super excited. They put on their knee pads, they put on their skates, and boom, they go. And they have all their instructors certified, insured, and licensed, which is like for skaters,
Farmer
got a big deal.
Qualification thing
Farmer,
with them,
Julian's got it as well. Farmer's got it as well. So, John and Ray are smashing it. They're doing a great, great, great thing for everybody. So mad props to them.
Yeah, and he doesn't seem to age as well. He still just looks very young, and he's still skating, and he seems to be everywhere. Like I've seen him at blading camps, and you see him he'll just pop up in random videos, like Blader Gang videos and stuff like that. And he's just always somewhere in the background. Yeah.
John's the best, dude. John's the best. I really love John.
That is pretty crazy. Yeah. Also, randomly, I remember a while back you met Bam Margera out skating in Malaga or something, or a ditch or something. What was the story?
Funny story.
What happened there? Or like you were helping him sweep a ditch or something to skate? Tell the story. This
is funny. So Jonas was here, and we were working on a project. It was the Elite Series. Yeah. So Jonas hit me up, and he's like, "Yo, I got a bunch of new camera gear. I don't know how to use it. I want to learn how to use it, and it's cold." And I said, "Oh, come on down, bro. Come down to Malaga for a while, hang out. It's warm here. We'll skate. You can learn how to use your new gear, and then we'll just play." And Jonas is a great friend, so whenever he's got time, he just comes on down. So Jonas came down, and he came down with an idea. We had like 9 or 10 days to shoot a project. It was going to be the Elite Series, the start of it. Well, how did this happen? I had found a couple of spots on Google Maps, and we had never been there before. And one of them was this like alien sort of dome tunnel that looks like a futuristic Star Wars spot, right? So we went to this tunnel, and as we were walking into the tunnel, there was this dude with a beard who had a friend and then a woman who was there, and they were all skateboarders. And growing up, I didn't watch MTV. I didn't watch any of these television channels. So I didn't know who this guy was. To me, it was just like a random kind of larger dude skateboarding. And I'm like, and Jonas is like, oh my God, that's Bam Margera. And I'm like, who the hell is Bam Margera? Like, give a fuck. And
that chubby guy with the skateboard, someone famous. Okay.
Yeah. Because the dude wasn't, the story is Bam was on a comeback. Right.
I know Bam's side of the story because I've seen, like, I used to watch 9 Club interviews, and he basically said he went to Spain to lose weight, and he was an alcoholic, so he went there to like detox. And he basically said he would just walk up mountains all the time because he was like, if I'm going to get back to pro skateboarding, I need to stop being so fucking fat. So he would climb mountains in the middle of the day to lose as much weight as possible really quickly.
Wow.
But then around that time, you posted up an Instagram thing being like, cleaning ditches with Bam Margera. And I was like, what?
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, the dude's super cool. Like, I don't know what happened in the past, because Jonas was saying this guy hates rollerblading and and jackass. I don't really know the story.
Yeah, he's quite famous for it. Yeah.
Okay. But at the end of the day, when Jonas and I were filming a clip in this ditch, the dude was super helpful. He was super cheering me on, like, wow, dude, this is awesome. Holy shit, you shred, blah, blah, blah. Like, mad cool, and even Bam was cleaning up spots for me. You know what I mean? Like, he was a nice guy, Like I said, I don't know the past, but in this moment, I can't judge him. He was cool. So
he's kept up with. He's got a massive skate park in his house.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right on. Well, anyways, the cool story about Bam is he gave me a list of spots in my own city.
Okay.
Yeah. Because he showed me a photo of this. I don't know if you remember, but on my Elite series, one of my enders, I drop into this huge bank.
Yeah.
And at the very end, the bank goes and kicks me out. Well, this is a Bam Margera spot. Bam found this and gave us the spot. And he said, dude, I was at this spot yesterday. And he took off his shirt and he just had road rash. And he's like, this spot destroyed me. And I was like, oh, dude, I'm going tomorrow and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it first try.
Maybe he was setting you up for a fall. Maybe he was like, I've ate shit on it, so it's your turn.
I mean, he was like, the thing is like, we had a cool connection. He was a nice guy. He gave me spots and I was impressed because I was like, dang, dude, I live here. How do you know all this cool stuff that I haven't been able to find,
He's got all the connects though. He's got all the local, like, I imagine there's people just all over the world helping him out. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool and random story.
That was cool. Yeah, I forgot about Bam. Yeah. And all in all, we ended up seeing him a couple of times. We saw him like 2 or 3 days out filming, and it was random, it wasn't like, hey, let's meet up. It was just, oh, you're here too. Oh, okay. Small world.
Yeah, it's kind of strange when stuff like that happens. Yeah. Yeah, that is pretty cool. So
the cool thing is he likes skating, huh? I mean, he liked our skating at the time. So maybe
he's older. Training. Like, I think a lot of that stuff obviously was when he was younger, and skateboarding, like any extreme sport, is basically very toxic masculinity fueled, because it's like, we need to be harder, like, especially during that era of, remember rollerblading back in like the early 2000s? It was the jockiest shit ever. It was like, if you're not throwing yourself off a roof, you're a wimp. So
yeah, true.
I imagine it wasn't too dissimilar in skateboarding, and it was like, well, look at roll, like, let's make fun of that because it's easy to make fun of. So I assume he's probably grown up since that time and maybe doesn't have those same views. I don't know, but it's cool that he was nice.
Seemed super cool to us, and that was nice I was surprised. That's cool. I did later Google him and see, it's the guy from Jackass. Okay. Oops.
Yeah, I don't even know how recognizable he would have been at that point. Like, if he'd put on loads of weight and he was rocking around with a beard, even if you did know who he was, it might take a minute to register.
Yeah. No, I remember Jonas. Jonas was like, that's Bam.
You're like,
Bam.
Bam who?
Bam
what?
What?
He would probably like that as well. I imagine if you get that famous, you'd probably like it that people don't know who you are, because it's probably
and that's what he told me. That's what he told me. He's like, he told me he had to leave. I think he said California. I think he was living in Cali. He's like, I had to leave Cali because I couldn't go to any skate parks to train to get back to my old self, get back to my pro level, because everybody would just mob me everywhere I go. And I said, oh God, dude, okay, I get it. So he came to Spain so people would leave him alone. Yeah.
Yeah. More reserved Europeans that just, look on from a distance.
Yeah.
So we've covered pretty much till modern day. So I guess the logical question now is, what's next for you? Because obviously I know you've got blading camps planned for, is it early next year, or when?
Yeah.
When are the next ones?
So the camps run 2021 will run in July and August. And now we have a new niche, is this back to blading kind of, we call it Big Kids Week. So the older generation of bladers is just exploded, right? Everybody who's skated when they were 15 and 16 are back again skating, and they all are looking for community again, and they're looking for somewhere to relearn, to regain confidence. And so in the last year, we've had this explosion of older bladers coming back. So we run older Big Kids Weeks in September, where it's normally just people over 18, over 20. And then our normal summer camp weeks are through July and through August of 2021. So super good.
That's pretty cool. And what a lot of people are going to want to know is, when are we going to see fresh Josh Glowicki footage? Is it going to be a section? Right now, is it going to be just footage in a project? What are we going to see, and when are we going to see it, more importantly?
So there's two things in the work right now. There's a project I've been working on with Richie, which we've filmed for the last 2 or 3 years. We filmed in and out of...
I was about to say his full-length video that no one believes is ever going to come out.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was even finished parts of it before. Yeah, I'm sure someone's told me there's finished this. Yeah.
Well, it's coming. It's coming, and I have 3 years of footage in the video. Richie's got 5 to 6 years. Note's got 2 sections. Takeshi's got a street section. I was
about to say, one of the Yasutoko brothers has street footage in it, doesn't he?
Takeshi section is so good. You're gonna love it. That's the thing. When Richie drops it, it's gonna be worth all the time. But so that section's coming out. Right. We filmed a lot in Barca. We filmed a lot in Russia. Just basically all the time we had together when we had a little bit of downtime over the last 3-4 years. And then I'm working on a project here right now for my new wheel, for the wheel that just came out.
For Red Eye? Okay.
The Red Eye wheel. So I've got probably half of that section filmed right now, and I'm doing it on a phone because phone footage seems to be the easiest way to do it now. And it also is kind of new and fun, a new perspective of it all, So I'm going to do a phone video and see how that goes and drop that with Red Eyes. And then, pretty much Cayenne 5 will be the next, hopefully, crazy high quality section video footage that comes out. And then, lots of camps and getting sustainable. My project right now is to become sustainable.
Self-sustainable project.
Self-sustainability. My wife and I are getting ready to go to Colombia. We'll spend about a month in Colombia in January. And then we'll go to Costa Rica after that, and we spend about 2 weeks in Costa Rica, and then hopefully some time in the United States, since it's been super hard to go to the States since all of the drama happened. I want to go see my family and say hi, and before everything here starts kicking off again in May. So right now is my downtime, my time to get really organized and we launched camps registration 3 days ago, and it went mega exploded again, and we're shaking our heads. We don't even know what to do with all these people right now.
That's cool. Hey, that's great news.
First world problem. I don't know how to organize everything yet, but at least everybody, you can see how inspired people are to do something.
Yeah. Especially after the year everyone's had, people just feel like caged animals. So they're like, just let me out of here and have some experiences.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's cool. So that's really cool. So that's kind of the future. The future is I'm going to plant a grain. I want to plant corn or maybe lentils or garbanzos and see kind of what happens. Because if we get a grain, we will be sustainable. And then,
Nice.
yeah, lots of skating when I can. I go down to Malaga 2 times a week and skate with Wani, skate with the crew, film a little bit. And yeah, it's pretty chill right now.
That's cool. Nice. I've asked you about 200 questions and we've probably been on the phone for almost 2 hours. So have you got anything else you want to say before we wrap things up?
Well, I just would like to say thanks to you. Thanks for taking your time. Thanks for opening up this new platform for us to have a voice. You know, I think what you do with Wheel Scene, how you take care of your local community, is a beautiful thing, and you've been doing it well for a long time now. So my hat's off to you, David. Keep it up, man. You're doing good.
Really scary. It's almost a decade now. That's really, that makes you feel really old. Yeah.
It's cool though, brother. It's cool. Keep it up. It's what we need. It's what your scene needs. It's what the locals need. It's doing good, you know?
Well, I'm really glad you're doing well. You look well, and I look forward to hearing how this grain project goes. I'm expecting to see, storehouses full of produce.
Hey, I'll let you in. I'll let you in on a super cool secret. We are about to launch Blading Camp olive oil.
Okay.
because we have it. It's from the Blading Camp house, from where we cultivated all the trees, and it's Blading Camp olive oil, and it's 100% ecological. It's the trees that we take care of, and yeah, we're totally going green in this whole step by step. It's all gonna happen. I'm not really gonna try to push it and sell it, outside to many people, but we're gonna have it around this year at the camps to give to parents and stuff like that.
I was about to say that'd be pretty funny. It's cool. Like, yeah, the parents are like, oh, you're back from camp. What did you get? And they're like, olive oil. And the parents are going to be like, what?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, they make their own olive oil. And they're like,
yeah,
sorry, what? Yeah, just confusion.
It's the south of Spain, man. That's just how we do it here,
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So yeah, just stuff like that. I would definitely like to shout out to Blade Life, to Greg from Blade Life, because he's become a good friend of mine in the last few years, and he really helps us with designing a lot of the camp clothing, and he makes sure that we always have really cool and exclusive designs for the small pieces that we make for blading camps, and his collaboration t-shirt that he made was so cool. So
yeah,
cool.
So I've got one in my room. Yeah.
Oh, you got one. Thanks,
yeah,
David.
I've got the blue with the purple design.
Yeah. I got that one too. I love it. I love it. But the way he does things in a manner that I really respect, and I've learned a lot from in the last few years. He makes everything small numbers, really exclusive and cool. And he doesn't do second runs most of the time. And to me, it's just really cool, So he's taken me kind of under his wing, and he's given me a lot of support over the last few years, and I'm grateful for it. And yeah, so shout out to Blade Life. The dude's awesome, and we should definitely support him as a community. He's doing great stuff for the skaters.
Nice. Well, I've got nothing else, so I'll let you enjoy the rest of your afternoon. And yeah, can't wait to see the new footage when it comes out. So get to work on that Pro Wheel promo.
Get to work. I will. Thank you, David. I really appreciate talking to you, man. Cool questions.
Man, nice to see you again.
Cool vibes. Good to see you again. Hope the family's good and safe, and y'all are all welcome to come down whenever you got time. Just come together. You got a room upstairs. We got a house that can host you. Don't worry about it. Just come on down.
Put our daughter to work. Get her plowing. Yeah.
Get her. Well, you guys come down next year. You can help us pick olives, baby.
Right. I'm going to leave you to enjoy the rest of your day. Speak soon.
Thanks, David. Have a good day, brother.
Bye.